And so one Polish guard is already fighting for his life in a hospital. Another one was injured gravely yesterday by, of course, aggressing people trying to cross the Polish-Belarusian border. So what should the Polish border guard do to prevent such attacks?
Well, that's a great question. You know, in my native country of America, we have millions of people crossing our southern border, and short of taking direct military action against those trying to cross, there's not much that can be done at the border itself. But this is I would call this like a double-headed snake, in that part of the force responsible, or part of the entity responsible for these people crossing illegally, are organized crime, who are making a lot of money. They're taking money from each one of these illegal migrants. But it's also Russian and Belarusian state policy. They're trying to do everything they possibly can to destabilize the governments that are on the border with Poland. I'm sorry, on the border with Belarus. This border crisis is just one aspect of that.
Well, it just seems like this issue is growing because, well, now since summer is coming, we know that migrants actually feel more comfortable and they're attracted to these warmer months. So do you think this issue of migration is going to actually grow in the coming months?
Yeah, of course it's going to grow in the coming months, because unlike other seasons of the year, right now there's no possibility that anyone's going to freeze to death if they have to wait all night long on the border. Mm-hmm. But it's also, this is Russian, and as I said, Russian and Belarusian state policy. There are just a story today about the numbers of people who've been arrested in Poland by Polish counterintelligence and the Polish law enforcement, who are working on behalf of Russia to disrupt situations inside of the country in numerous places. That includes targeting Americans and other NATO nation service personnel and officials who are inside of Poland assisting the Ukrainian war. So this is all connected. This is not happening in a vacuum.
Of course. Well, you compare the situation on the US-Mexican border to what's happening on the Polish-Belarusian border, but I know I have certain doubts whether it's the same, because does it happen often that migrants from the south of the continent stab American soldiers just to get into the US? I don't think so. And here, as you said, they are obviously tools in hands of the Kremlin regime. So how to treat those people?
Well, they're going to have to be treated not like innocent people who are trying to make a new life for themselves, which is what we always hear. But these are basically insurgents in a campaign against democratic values and the rules-based international order. That's what they are. And you're going to have to treat them like a military threat.
Now, the issue is that some are saying that we can't treat them like that because they're being lured to Belarus, to Russia, and then they're being pushed to further to Lithuania, Poland, etc. So some people are saying that they're actually innocent. They're just being tools in the hands of Russia and Belarus. What do you say to that?
Well, to a certain extent, that's true. But there are people. I mean, I've talked to some of these people in the past, mm-hmm. and they're well aware that they're committing an illegal act, and they're well aware that there's a danger to crossing the border. But some of them, those that are not acting as active agents of the Russian or the Belarusian state, they're still trying to illegally break into the EU. I mean, that's what it comes down to. And illegal migration is a problem. It's not going to go away. If something isn't done about it, well, if you don't have borders anymore, you don't have a country.
Well, of course. And they're very aggressive as well, right? So...
Right. So, therefore, my next question. Who are the migrants trying to storm Polish border? Not that long ago, one of prominent Belarusian oppositionists, Paweł Latuszka, said that former Iraqi and Afghani soldiers are being brought to the Polish-Belarusian border to cause the trouble there. So how to interpret this? This is like causing declaration of war.
This is an undeclared war against Poland. Yes, that's what it is. Everyone knows that Poland is the strongest of the NATO members in terms of supporting Ukraine and being anti-Russian for a number of extremely logical and justifiable reasons. Everyone knows that Poland is the center of, or the main transfer point for all of the military hardware that comes into Ukraine from the West. And so it makes Poland a big target. And moving former Afghan and Iraqi fighters into Poland is extremely, that's extremely disturbing, because once they're inside the country, now there's a guerrilla army on your territory.
Now, to your point, Polish Foreign Minister Radosław Sikorski has announced an information campaign targeting migrants, countries of origin. Now, I have two questions here. Now, do you think this is going to be effective? And also, for this to be effective in a way, these countries have to cooperate with Poland. What do you think about that?
I think there's very little chance that these countries will cooperate with Poland on this matter. The information campaign will only be effective in keeping innocent people who are simply trying to migrate illegally. It won't keep out the people that want to burn things down or commit acts of sabotage once they're inside of Poland.
Right. And do you have any knowledge how these attacks on Polish border are being exploited by Belarusian and Russian propaganda? Because I guess that's just one side of the coin that they are trying to get into the EU, but obviously the Kremlin must know that it's very inefficient, right? So how is it trying to exploit the situation?
Well, it's I haven't seen any propaganda yet where the Kremlin's trying to exploit the plight of these people crossing and talking about the inhumanity of the West, as you would expect. But it's very effective in creating a very great sense of unease and terror among the population. I mean, the closer you are to the border, the more uneasy you must feel if you're a Polish citizen. And one of the largest open air markets in all of Poland, in Warsaw, was just burned down not long ago. Prime Minister Tusk was talking about it and pointing the finger at the Russians. These kinds of acts of terror can cause all kinds of difficulties for any government, and can create any number of repercussions. That it's an extremely dangerous situation. This could explode at any time.
That doesn't sound good. This can explode at any time. Reuben F. military expert at Breaking Defense, was our guest tonight. Thank you very much.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you, sir.